Yehoshua chapter 1. And it came to be after the death of Moshe the servant of Yehovah, that Yehovah spoke to Yehoshua son of Nun, the assistant of Moshe, saying, Moshe my servant is dead. So now arise, pass over this Yarden, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, to the children of Israel. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads I have given you, as I spoke to Moshe. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites and to the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, is your border. No man is going to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so I am with you. I do not fail nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you are to let this people inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, to guard and do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do all that is written in it, for then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged, for Yehovah your Elohim is with you wherever you go. And Yehoshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the midst of the camp, and command the people, saying, Prepare food for yourselves, for within 3 days you are passing over this Yarden, to go in to possess the land which Yehovah your Elohim is giving to you to possess. And Yehoshua spoke to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, saying, Remember the word which Moshe, servant of Yehovah, commanded you, saying, Yehovah your Elohim is giving you rest, and he shall give you this land. Let your wives and your little ones and your livestock stay in the land which Moshe gave you beyond the Yarden. But you shall pass before your brothers in fives, all your brave fighters, and shall help them, until Yehovah has given your brothers rest, as unto you. So shall they also take possession of the land which Yehovah your Elohim is giving them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession, and shall possess that which Moshe the servant of Yehovah gave you beyond the Yarden toward the rising of the sun. And they answered Yehoshua, saying, All that you have commanded us we do, and wherever you send us we go. According to all that we obeyed Moshe, so we obey you. Only let Yehovah your Elohim be with you, as he was with Moshe. Whoever rebels against your mouth and does not obey your words in all that you command him is put to death. Only be strong and courageous. Chapter 2. And Yehoshua son of Nun secretly sent out 2 men from Shittim to spy, saying, Go see the land and Jericho. And they went and came to the house of a woman, a whore, and her name was Rahav, and they lay down there. But it was reported to the sovereign of Jericho, saying, See, men from the children of Israel have come here tonight to search out the land. And the sovereign of Jericho sent to Rahav, saying, Bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered your house, for they have come to search out all the land. But the woman had taken the 2 men and hid them. So she said, The men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. And it came to be as the gate was being shut when it was dark, that the men went out. I do not know where the men went. Pursue them quickly, so that you overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof and hidden them with the stalks of flax which she had laid out on the roof. And the men pursued them by the way of the Yarden to the fords, and they shut the gate afterwards, as soon as the pursuers had gone out. And before they lay down, she came up to them on the roof, and she said to the men, I know that Yehovah has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away because of you. For we have heard how Yehovah dried up the water of the Sea of Reeds for you when you came out of Mitzrayim, and what you did to the 2 sovereigns of the Amorites who were beyond the Yarden, Sihon and Og, whom you put under the ban. And when we heard, our hearts melted, and there was no spirit left in anyone because of you. For Yehovah your Elohim, he is Elohim in the heavens above and on the earth beneath. And now please swear to me by Yehovah, since I have shown you loving commitment, that you also show loving commitment to my father's house, and shall give me a true token, and shall spare my father and my mother and my brothers and my sisters and all that they have, and shall deliver our lives from death. And the men said to her, Our lives for yours, if you do not expose this matter of ours. Then it shall be, when Yehoshua has given us the land, that we shall treat you in loving commitment and truth. So she let them down by a rope from the window, for her house was on the city wall, and she dwelt on the wall. And she said to them, Go to the mountain, lest the pursuers come upon you, and you shall hide there 3 days until the pursuers have returned, and afterwards go on your way. And the men said to her, We are released from this oath of yours which you have made us swear, unless when we come into the land you bind this line of scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and unless you bring your father and your mother and your brothers and all your father's household to your own home. And it shall be that anyone who goes outside the doors of your house into the street, his blood is on his own head, and we are innocent. And anyone who is with you in the house, his blood is on our head if a hand is laid on him. And if you expose this matter of ours, then we shall be released from your oath which you made us swear. And she said, Let it be according to your words. And she sent them away, and they went, and she bound the scarlet cord in the window. So they left and came to the mountain, and stayed there 3 days until the pursuers returned. And the pursuers sought them all the way, but did not find them. Then the 2 men returned and came down from the mountain and passed over. And they came to Yehoshua son of Nun, and related to him all that had befallen them. And they said to Yehoshua, Truly, Yehoshua has given all the land into our hands, and also all the inhabitants of the land have melted away because of us. Chapter 3. And Yehoshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from Shittim, and came to the Yarden, he and all the children of Israel, and stayed there before they passed over. And it came to be after 3 days that the officers went into the midst of the camp, and they commanded the people, saying, When you see the ark of the covenant of Yehoshua your Elohim, and the priests, the Levites, bearing it, then you shall set out from your place and follow it. Only keep a distance between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Do not come near it, so that you know which way to go, for you have not passed over this way before. And Yehoshua said to the people, Set yourselves apart, for tomorrow Yehoshua is doing wonders in your midst. And Yehoshua spoke to the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. So they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, This day I begin to make you great before the eyes of all Israel, so that they know that I am with you as I was with Moshe. And you, command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When you come to the edge of the water of the Yarden, stand in the Yarden. And Yehoshua said to the children of Israel, Come near and hear the words of Yehoshua your Elohim. And Yehoshua said, By this you shall know that the living El is in your midst, and that he is certainly driving out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. See, the ark of the covenant of the master of all the earth is passing over before you into the Yarden. And now take for yourselves 12 men from the tribes of Israel, 1 man from every tribe. And it shall be as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests who bear the ark of Yehoshua, the master of all the earth, come to rest in the waters of the Yarden, that the waters of the Yarden are cut off, the waters that come down from upstream and stand as a heap. And it came to be when the people set out from their tents to pass over the Yarden, with the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as those bearing the ark came to the Yarden, and the feet of the priests bearing the ark dipped in the edge of the water, now the Yarden overflows all its bank during all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from upstream stood still, and rose in a heap very far away, at Adam, the city that is beside Ssadi, and the waters going down into the sea of the Arava, the salt sea, were completely cut off, and the people passed over opposite Jericho. And the priests bearing the ark of the covenant of Yehoshua stood firm on dry ground in the midst of the Yarden, and all Israel passed over on dry ground until all the nation had completely passed over the Yarden. Chapter 4. And it came to be when the entire nation had completely passed over the Yarden, that Yehoshua spoke to Yehoshua, saying, Take for yourselves 12 men from the people, 1 man from every tribe, and command them, saying, Take for yourselves 12 stones from here, out of the midst of the Yarden, from the place where the priest's feet stood firm, and you shall bring them with you and leave them in the camp in which you spend the night. And Yehoshua called the 12 men whom he had appointed from the children of Israel, 1 man from every tribe. And Yehoshua said to them, Pass over before the ark of Yehovah your Elohim into the midst of the Yarden, and each one of you take up a stone on his shoulder according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, so that this shall be a sign in your midst when your children ask in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean to you? Then you shall answer them that the waters of the Yarden were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yehovah. When it passed over the Yarden, the waters of the Yarden were cut off, and these stones shall be for a remembrance to the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so as Yehoshua commanded, and took up 12 stones from the midst of the Yarden, as Yehovah had spoken to Yehoshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and took them over with them to their camp, and laid them down there. Yehoshua also set up 12 stones in the midst of the Yarden, in the place where the feet of the priests who bore the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there to this day. And the priests who bore the ark stood in the midst of the Yarden until every matter was finished, that Yehovah had commanded Yehoshua to speak to the people according to all that Moshe had commanded Yehoshua. And the people hastened and passed over. And it came to be when all the people had completely passed over, that the ark of Yehovah and the priests passed over in the presence of the people. And the sons of Reuven and the sons of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh passed over in 5s before the children of Israel, as Moshe had spoken to them. About 40,000 armed ones of the army passed over before Yehovah for battle to the desert plains of Jericho. On that day, Yehovah made Yehoshua great before the eyes of all Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moshe all the days of his life. And Yehovah spoke to Yehoshua, saying, Command the priests who bear the ark of the witness, and let them come up from the Yarden. And Yehoshua commanded the priests, saying, Come up from the Yarden. And it came to be, when the priests who bore the ark of the covenant of Yehovah had come from the midst of the Yarden, and the soles of the priests' feet touched the dry land, that the waters of the Yarden returned to their place and flowed over all its banks as before. And the people came up from the Yarden on the 10th day of the first new moon, and they camped in Gilgal on the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of the Yarden, Yehoshua set up in Gilgal. And he said to the children of Israel, saying, When your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What are these stones? Then you shall let your children know, saying, Israel passed over the Yarden on dry land. For Yehovah your Elohim dried up the waters of the Yarden before you, until you had passed over, as Yehovah your Elohim did to the Sea of Reeds, which he dried up before us until we had passed over, so that all the peoples of the earth shall know the hand of Yehovah, that it is strong, so that you shall fear Yehovah your Elohim forever. Chapter 5. And it came to be, when all the sovereigns of the Amorites who were beyond the Yarden westward, and all the sovereigns of the Canaanites who were by the sea, heard that Yehovah had dried up the waters of the Yarden from before the children of Israel until we passed over, that their heart melted, and there was no spirit in them any longer because of the children of Israel. At that time Yehovah said to Yehoshua, Make knives of flint for yourself, and circumcise the sons of Israel again the second time. So Yehoshua made knives of flint for himself, and circumcised the sons of Israel at the hill of foreskins. And this is why Yehoshua circumcised them. All the people who came out of Mitzrayim, who were males, all the men of battle had died in the wilderness on the way, after they had come out of Mitzrayim. For all the people who came out had been circumcised, but all the people who were born in the wilderness on the way as they came out of Mitzrayim had not been circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the nation, the men of battle who came out of Mitzrayim, were consumed, because they did not obey the voice of Yehovah, to whom Yehovah swore not to show them the land which Yehovah had sworn to their fathers that he would give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. And Yehoshua circumcised their sons whom he raised up in their place, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not been circumcised on the way. And it came to be, when they had completed circumcising all the nation, that they stayed in their places in the camp till they were healed. And Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, Today I have rolled away the reproach of Mitzrayim from you. So the name of the place is called Gilgal to this day. And the children of Israel camped in Gilgal and performed the Pesach on the 14th day of the new moon at evening on the desert plains of Yericho. And they ate of the stored grain of the land on the morrow after the Pesach, unleavened bread and roasted grain on this same day. And the manna ceased on the day after they had eaten the stored grain of the land, and the children of Israel no longer had manna, but they ate the food of the land of Canaan that year. And it came to be when Yehoshua was by Jericho that he lifted his eyes and looked, and saw a man standing opposite him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Yehoshua went to him and said to him, Are you for us or for our adversaries? And he said, No, for I have now come as captain of the host of Yehoshua. And Yehoshua fell on his face to the earth and did obeisance, and said to him, What is my master saying to his servant? And the captain of the host of Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, Take your sandal off your foot, for the place where you stand is set apart. And Yehoshua did so. Chapter 6. And Jericho was shut up tight because of the presence of the sons of Israel, none going out and none coming in. And Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, See, I have given Jericho and its sovereign, mighty brave men, into your hand. And you shall go around the city, all the men of battle going around the city once. Do this for 6 days. And let 7 priests bear 7 shofarot of the Yovelim before the ark. And on the 7th day go around the city 7 times, while the priests blow with the shofarot. And it shall be, when they make a long blast with the horn of a yovel, and when you hear the voice of the shofar, that all the people shout with a great sound, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall go up every man straight before him. And Yehoshua son of Nun called the priests and said to them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 shofarot of Yovelim before the ark of Yehoshua. And he said to the people, Pass over and go around the city, and let him who is armed pass over before the ark of Yehoshua. And it came to be, when Yehoshua had spoken to the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofarot of the Yovelim before Yehoshua passed over and blew with the shofarot, and the ark of the covenant of Yehoshua went after them. And the armed men went before the priests, who blew the shofarot, and the rear guard came after the ark, going on and blowing with the shofarot. But Yehoshua had commanded the people, saying, Do not make a sound or cause your voice to be heard, nor let any word come out of your mouth, until the day I say to you, Shout, then you shall shout. And the ark of Yehoshua went around the city, going around once, and they came into the camp and stayed in the camp. And Yehoshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of Yehoshua. And 7 priests bearing 7 shofarot of the Yovelim before the ark of Yehoshua were walking, going on, and they blew with the shofarot, and the armed men went before them. But the rear guard came after the ark of Yehoshua, going on and blowing with the shofarot. And the 2nd day they went around the city once, and returned to the camp. Thus they did 6 days. And it came to be on the 7th day that they rose early, about the dawning of the day, and went around the city 7 times in this way. Only on that day they went around the city 7 times. And it came to be, at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the shofarot, that Yehoshua said to the people, Shout, for Yehoshua has given you the city. And the city shall be put under the ban. It and all that is in it belongs to Yehoshua. Only Rachav the whore is to live, she and all who are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And you, by all means, guard yourselves from that which is under the ban, lest you come under the ban when you take that of which is under the ban, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and shall trouble it. But all the silver and gold, and vessels of bronze and iron, are set apart to Yehoshua. They go into the treasury of Yehoshua. And the people shouted when the priests blew the shofarot, And it came to be when the people heard the voice of the shofar, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat. And the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they captured the city. And they put under the ban all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and donkey, with the edge of the sword. And to the two men who had spied out the land, Yehoshua said, Go into the house of the woman, the whore, and from there bring out the woman and all that she has, as you swore to her. And the young men, the spies, went in and brought out Rachel and her father and her mother and her brothers and all that she had. So they brought out all her relatives and set them outside the camp of Israel. And they burned the city and all that was in it with fire. Only the silver and gold and the vessels of bronze and iron they put into the treasury of the house of Yehoshua. However, Yehoshua kept alive Rachav the whore and her father's household and all that she had. And she dwelt in the midst of Israel to this day, because she hid the messengers whom Yehoshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Yehoshua warned them at that time, saying, Cursed is the man before Yehoshua who rises up and builds this city Jericho. He lays its foundation with his firstborn, and with his youngest he sets up its gates. And Yehoshua was with Yehoshua, and a report about him was in all the land. Chapter 7. But the children of Israel committed a trespass regarding that which is under the ban. For Achan, son of Carmi, son of Zavdi, son of Zerach, of the tribe of Yehudah, took of that which is under the ban. And the displeasure of Yehoshua burned against the children of Israel. Now Yehoshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Beth Awen, on the east side of Beth El, and spoke to them, saying, Go up and spy out the land. And the men went up and spied out Ai. And they returned to Yehoshua and said to him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and strike Ai. Do not make all the people toil up there, for the people of Ai are few. And about 3,000 men went up there from the people, but they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai struck about 36 men, for they pursued them from before the gate as far as Shevarim, and smote them on the descent. So the hearts of the people melted and became like water. And Yehoshua tore his garments, and fell to the earth on his face before the ark of Yehoshua until evening, both he and the elders of Israel, and they put dust on their heads. And Yehoshua said, O Master Yehoshua, why have you brought this people over the Yarden at all, to give us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us? If only we had been content to stay beyond the Yarden. O Yehoshua, what do I say when Israel turns its back before its enemies, and the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land hear, and shall surround us, and cut off our name from the earth? What then do you do for your great name? And Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, Rise up, why are you lying on your face? Israel has sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them. And they have even taken some of that which is under the ban, and have both stolen and deceived, and also put it among their own goods. And the sons of Israel shall not be able to stand before their enemies. They are going to turn their backs before their enemies, for they have become accursed. I am not with you any more, unless you destroy that which is under the ban from your midst. Rise up, set the people apart, and you shall say, Set yourselves apart for tomorrow, because thus said Yehoshua Elohim of Israel, That which is under the ban is in your midst, O Israel. You are not able to stand before your enemies until you put away that which is under the ban out of your midst. And you shall be brought near in the morning according to your tribes. And it shall be, the tribe which Yehoshua takes comes according to clans. And the clan which Yehoshua takes comes by households. And the household which Yehoshua takes comes by men. And it shall be, that he who is taken with that which is under the ban is burned with fire, he and all that he has, because he has transgressed the covenant of Yehoshua, and because he has committed wickedness in Israel. So Yehoshua arose early in the morning, and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Yehudah was taken. And he brought the clan of Yehudah, and he took the clan of the Zarhites, and he brought the clan of the Zarhites by men, and Zavdi was taken. And he brought his household by men, and Achan, son of Carmi, son of Zavdi, son of Zerach, of the tribe of Yehudah, was taken. Then Yehoshua said to Achan, My son, now give esteem to Yehovah Elohim of Israel, and make confession to him, and please declare to me what you have done. Do not hide it from me. So Achan answered Yehoshua and said, Truly I have sinned against Yehovah Elohim of Israel, and this is what I did. When I saw among the spoil a lovely garment from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them and took them. And see, they are hidden in the ground in the midst of my tent, with the silver under it. And Yehoshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent, and see, it was hidden in his tent with the silver under it. And they took them from the midst of the tent, brought them to Yehoshua and to all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Yehovah. Then Yehoshua and all Israel with him took Achan son of Zerach, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his donkeys, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them to the valley of Achor. And Yehoshua said, Why have you troubled us? Yehovah does trouble you today. Then all Israel stoned him with stones, and they burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones, which remains to this day. Then Yehovah turned from the fierceness of his displeasure. Therefore the name of that place has been called the Valley of Achor to this day. Chapter 8. And Yehovah said to Yehoshua, Do not be afraid nor discouraged. Take all the soldiers with you and arise. Go up to Ai. See, I have given into your hand the sovereign of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. So you shall do to Ai and its sovereign as you did to Jericho and its sovereign. Only its spoil and its livestock you take as plunder for yourselves. Set for yourselves an ambush for the city behind it. And Yehoshua and all the soldiers rose up to go up to Ai. And Yehoshua chose 30,000 mighty brave men, and sent them away by night, and commanded them, saying, See, you are going to lie in ambush against the city, behind the city. Do not go very far from the city, but all of you shall be prepared, while I and all the people who are with me approach the city. And it shall be, when they come out against us, as formerly, that we shall flee before them. And they shall come out after us till we have drawn them from the city, as though saying, They are fleeing before us as formerly, and we shall flee before them. Then you shall arise from the ambush and seize the city. And Yehovah your Elohim shall give it into your hand. And it shall be, when you capture the city, that you burn the city with fire. Do according to the word of Yehovah. See, I have commanded you. And Yehoshua sent them out, and they went to lie in ambush, and stayed between Beth-el and Ai, on the west side of Ai. But Yehoshua stayed that night in the midst of the people. And Yehoshua rose up early in the morning and inspected the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people to Ai. And all the soldiers who were with him went up and drew near, and came before the city, and camped on the north side of Ai, with a valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men, and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of the city. So they stationed the people, all the army, that was on the north of the city, and its rear guard on the west of the city. And Yehoshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to be, when the sovereign of Ai saw it, that the men of the city hastened, and rose up early, and went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at an appointed place before the desert plain. But he did not know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. And Yehoshua and all Israel let themselves be beaten before them, and fled by the way of the wilderness. And all the people who were in Ai were called together to pursue them, and they pursued Yehoshua, and were drawn away from the city. So there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel who did not go out after Yisrael, and they left the city open and pursued Yisrael. And Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, Stretch out the spear that is in your hand toward Ai, for I give it into your hand. And Yehoshua stretched out the spear that he had in his hand toward the city, and the ambush rose up quickly from their place, and they ran at the stretching out of his hand, and entered the city and took it, and hastened to burn the city with fire. And the men of Ai looked behind them, and saw the smoke of the city rising to the heavens, and there was no power in them to flee this way or that way, for the people who had fled to the wilderness turned back on the pursuers. For when Yehoshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had captured the city, and that the smoke of the city went up, they turned back and struck the men of Ai. The others also came out of the city against them, so that they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they struck them until none were left, and none had escaped. But the sovereign of Ai they caught alive, and brought him to Yehoshua. And it came to be, when Israel ended killing all the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness where they pursued them, and when they had all fallen by the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all Israel returned to Ai, and struck it with the edge of the sword. And it came to be that all who fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, all men of Ai. And Yehoshua did not draw back his hand, with which he stretched out the spear, until he had put all the inhabitants of Ai under the ban. Only the livestock and the spoil of that city Israel took as booty for themselves, according to the word of Yehoshua which he had commanded Yehoshua. And Yehoshua burned Ai, and made it a heap forever, a ruin to this day. And he hanged the sovereign of Ai on a tree until evening. And at sunset Yehoshua commanded that they should take his corpse down from the tree, and throw it at the entrance of the gate of the city, and raise over it a great heap of stones to this day. And Yehoshua built a slaughter place to Yehoshua, Elohim of Israel, in Mount Avel, as Moshe the servant of Yehoshua had commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, a slaughter place of unhewn stones, over which no man has wielded iron. And they offered on it ascending offerings to Yehoshua, and slaughtered peace offerings. And there in the presence of the children of Israel, he wrote on the stones a copy of the Torah of Moshe, which he had written. And all Israel, the sojourner as well as the native, with their elders and officers and judges, stood on either side of the ark before the priests, the Leviim, who bore the ark of the covenant of Yehoshua. Half of them were in front of Mount Gerizim, and half of them in front of Mount Avel, as Moshe the servant of Yehoshua had commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the Torah, the blessings and the cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the Torah. There was not a word of all that Moshe had commanded, which Yehoshua did not read before all the assembly of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the sojourners who accompanied them. Chapter 9. And it came to be when all the sovereigns who were beyond the Yarden, in the hills and in the low country, and in all the coasts of the great sea towards Lebanon, the Hittite and the Amorite, the Canaanite and the Perizzite, the Hivite and the Jebusite heard, they gathered together to fight with Yehoshua and Israel with one accord. And the inhabitants of Givon heard what Yehoshua had done to Jericho and Ai, and they acted slyly and went and pretended to be envoys. And they took old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins torn and mended, and old and patched sandals on their feet, and old garments on themselves. And all the bread of their provision was dry, it was crumbs. And they went to Yehoshua to the camp at Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Israel, We have come from a far land, and now make a covenant with us. But the men of Israel said to the Hivites, It could be that you dwell in our midst, so how would we make a covenant with you? And they said to Yehoshua, We are your servants. And Yehoshua said to them, Who are you, and where do you come from? So they said to him, From a land very far off your servants have come, because of the name of Yehoshua your Elohim. For we have heard the report of him, and all that he did in Mitzrayim, and all that he had done to the two sovereigns of the Amorites who were beyond the Yarden, to Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, who was at Ashtaroth. So our elders and all the inhabitants of our land spoke to us, saying, Take food with you for the journey, and go and meet them, and say to them, We are your servants, and now make a covenant with us. This bread of ours we took hot for our provision from our houses on the day that we left to come to you, but now, see, it is dry, and it is crumbly. And the wineskins which we filled were new, and see, they are torn. And these our garments and our sandals have become old because of the very long journey. And the men of Israel took some of their food, but they did not ask the mouth of Yehoshua. And Yehoshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to let them live. And the rulers of the congregation swore to them. And it came to be at the end of 3 days, after they had made a covenant with them, that they heard that they were their neighbours who dwelt near them. And the children of Israel sent and came to their cities on the 3rd day. Now the cities were Givon, and Kephirah, and Be'eroth, and Kiriath Ye'arim. But the children of Israel did not strike them, because the rulers of the congregation had sworn to them by Yehoshua, Elohim of Israel. And all the congregation grumbled against the elders. But all the rulers said to the congregation, We have sworn to them by Yehoshua, Elohim of Israel, and we are unable to touch them now. Let us do this to them. We shall keep them alive, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swore to them. And the rulers said to them, Let them live, but let them be woodcutters and drawers of water for all the congregation, as the rulers had promised them. Then Yehoshua called for them, and he spoke to them, saying, Why have you deceived us, saying, We are very far from you, yet you are dwelling in our midst? And now you are cursed, and you shall not cease from being slaves, and woodcutters, and drawers of water for the house of my Elohim. And they answered Yehoshua and said, Your servants were clearly told that Yehoshua your Elohim commanded his servant Moshe to give you all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you. So we were very much afraid for our lives because of you, and have done this deed. And now, see, we are in your hands. Do with us as it seems good and right to do to us. And he did so to them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, and they did not kill them. And that day Yehoshua made them woodcutters, and drawers of water for the congregation, and for the slaughter place of Yehoshua, even to this day, at the place that he should choose. Chapter 10. And it came to be when Adoni-Tzedek, sovereign of Yerushalayim, heard that Yehoshua had captured Ai, and had put it under the ban, that he had done to Ai and its sovereign as he had done to Jericho and its sovereign, and the inhabitants of Givon had made peace with Israel and were in their midst, that they feared greatly, because Givon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all its men were mighty. And Adoni-Tzedek, sovereign of Yerushalayim, sent to Hoham, sovereign of Hebron, and to Piram, sovereign of Yarmuth, and to Yaphia, sovereign of Lachish, and to Devir, sovereign of Echlon, saying, Come up to me and help me, and let us strike Givon, for it has made peace with Yehoshua and with the children of Israel. So the 5 sovereigns of the Amorites, the sovereign of Yerushalayim, the sovereign of Hebron, the sovereign of Yarmuth, the sovereign of Lachish, the sovereign of Echlon, gathered together and went up, they and all their armies, and camped before Givon, and fought against it. And the men of Givon sent to Yehoshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, Do not withdraw your hand from your servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us, for all the sovereigns of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have assembled against us. And Yehoshua went up from Gilgal, he and all the soldiers with him, and all the mighty brave men. And Yehoshua said to Yehoshua, Do not fear them, for I have given them into your hand. Not one of them does stand before you. So then Yehoshua came upon them suddenly, having gone up all night from Gilgal. And Yehoshua threw them into confusion before Israel, and they struck them with a great slaughter at Givon, and pursued them along the way that goes to Beth Horon, and struck them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it came to be, as they fled before Israel, and were on the descent of Beth Horon, the Yehoshua threw down large hailstones from the heavens on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than those whom the sons of Israel had killed with the sword. Then Yehoshua spoke to Yehoshua in the day when Yehoshua gave the Amorites over to the children of Israel, and he said before the eyes of Israel, Sun, stand still over Givon, and moon in the valley of Ayalon. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself upon their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Yashar? Thus the sun stopped in the midst of the heavens, and did not hasten to go down for an entire day. And there has been no day like that, before it or after it, that Yehoshua listened to the voice of a man, because Yehoshua fought for Yisrael. So Yehoshua returned, and all Yisrael with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Now these 5 sovereigns had fled, and hidden themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was reported to Yehoshua, saying, The 5 sovereigns have been found hidden in the cave at Makkedah. And Yehoshua said, Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave, and set men by it to guard them. And you, do not stand still, but pursue your enemies, and you shall smite them in the rear. Do not allow them to enter their cities, for Yehoshua your Elohim has given them into your hand. And it came to be when Yehoshua and the children of Israel had ended striking them with a very great slaughter, till they had finished, but those who escaped went into walled cities. And all the people returned to the camp to Yehoshua at Makkedah in peace. No one moved his tongue against any of the sons of Israel. Then Yehoshua said, Open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 sovereigns to me from the cave. And they did so, and brought 5 sovereigns to him from the cave, the sovereign of Yerushalayim, the sovereign of Hebron, the sovereign of Yarmuth, the sovereign of Lachish, the sovereign of Echlon. And it came to be, when they brought out those sovereigns to Yehoshua, that Yehoshua called for all the men of Israel, and said to the chiefs of the men of battle who went with him, Come near, put your feet on the necks of these sovereigns. And they drew near, and put their feet on their necks. Then Yehoshua said to them, Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged. Be strong and courageous, for this is what Yehoshua is going to do to all your enemies whom you are fighting. And afterward Yehoshua struck them and killed them, and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hanging on the trees until evening. And it came to be at the time of the going down of the sun, that Yehoshua commanded, and they took them down from the trees, and threw them into the cave where they had been hidden, and laid large stones against the cave's mouth to this day. And on that day Yehoshua captured Makkedah, and he struck it with the edge of the sword, and he put its sovereign under the ban, them and all the people who were in it. He left no survivor. And he did to the sovereign of Makkedah as he had done to the sovereign of Jericho. Then Yehoshua passed over, and all Israel with him, from Makkedah to Livnah, and they fought against Livnah. And Yehoshua gave it and its sovereign into the hand of Israel, and he struck it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword. He left no survivor in it. And he did to its sovereign as he had done to the sovereign of Jericho. Then Yehoshua passed over, and all Israel with him, from Livnah to Lachish, and encamped against it and fought against it. And Yehoshua gave Lachish into the hand of Israel, who captured it on the 2nd day, and struck it and the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, according to all that he had done to Livnah. Then Horam, sovereign of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Yehoshua struck him and his people until he left him no survivor. Then Yehoshua passed over, and all Israel with him, from Lachish to Echlon, and they encamped against it and fought against it, and captured it on that day, and struck it with the edge of the sword. And all the beings who were in it he put under the ban that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. Then Yehoshua went up, and all Israel with him, from Echlon and Hebron, and they fought against it, and captured it, and struck it with the edge of the sword, and its sovereign, and all its cities, and all the people who were in it. He left no survivor, according to all that he had done to Echlon, but put it and all the people who were in it under the ban. Then Yehoshua returned, and all Israel with him, to Debir, and fought against it, and captured it, and its sovereign, and all its cities. And they struck them with the edge of the sword, and put all the people who were in it under the ban. He left no survivor. As he had done to Hebron, so he did to Devir and its sovereign, as he had done also to Lifna and its sovereign. Thus Yehoshua struck all the land, the mountain country and the south, and the low country and the wilderness slopes, and all their sovereigns. He left no survivor, but put all that breathed under the ban, as Yehovah Elohim of Israel had commanded. And Yehoshua struck them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Azar, and all the land as far as Goshen, even as far as Givon. And Yehoshua captured all these sovereigns and their land at one time, because Yehovah Elohim of Israel fought for Israel. And Yehoshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Chapter 11. And it came to be, when Yavin, sovereign of Chatzor, heard, that he sent to Yovav, sovereign of Madon, and to the sovereign of Shimron, and to the sovereign of Achshaph, and to the sovereigns who were from the north, in the mountains, and in the desert plain south of Kinneroth, and in the low country, and in the heights of Dor on the west, the Canaanites in the east and in the west, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Jebusite in the mountains, and the Hiwite below Hermon in the land of Mitzpah. And they went out, they and all the armies with them, as many people as numerous as the sand on the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. And all these sovereigns met together, and they came and camped together at the waters of Merom, to fight against Israel. And Yehovah said to Yehoshua, Do not be afraid of their presence, for tomorrow about this time I am giving all of them over to Israel, slain. Hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire. And Yehoshua and all the soldiers with him came against them suddenly by the waters of Merom, and they fell on them. And Yehovah gave them into the hand of Israel, and they struck them and pursued them to Great Sidon, and to Misrephoth Maim, and to the valley of Mitzpeh, eastward. And they struck them until no survivor was left to them. And Yehoshua did to them as Yehovah said to him. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fire. And Yehoshua turned back at that time and captured Chatzor, and struck its sovereign with the sword, for Chatzor was formerly the head of all those reigns. And they struck all the beings who were in it with the edge of the sword, putting them under the ban. He did not leave anyone breathing. Then he burned Chatzor with fire. And Yehoshua captured all the cities of those sovereigns, and all their sovereigns, and he struck them with the edge of the sword. He put them under the ban, as Moshe the servant of Yehovah commanded. However, Israel did not burn any cities that stood on their mounds, but Yehoshua burnt only Chatzor. And all the spoil of these cities and the livestock the children of Israel took as booty for themselves. But they struck every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them, and they did not leave anyone breathing. As Yehovah had commanded Moshe his servant, so Moshe commanded Yehoshua, and so Yehoshua did. He did not turn aside a word of all that Yehovah had commanded Moshe. Thus Yehoshua took all this land, the mountain country and all the south, and all the land of Goshen, and the low country, and the desert plain, and the mountains of Israel and its lowlands, from Mount Halak that goes up to Seir, and as far as Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. And he captured all their sovereigns and struck them and killed them. Yehoshua fought with all those sovereigns for a long time. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Givon. All the others they took in battle. For it was of Yehovah to strengthen their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, in order to put them under the ban, so that they might have no favor, but that he might annihilate them, as Yehovah had commanded Moshe. And at that time Yehoshua came and cut off the Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron, from Devir, from Anav, and from all the mountains of Yehudah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Yehoshua put them with their cities under the ban. There were none of the Anakim left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Azar, in Gath, in Ashdod some remained. Thus Yehoshua took the entire land according to all that Yehovah had said to Moshe, and Yehoshua gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their divisions by their tribes, and the land rested from fighting. Chapter 12. And these are the sovereigns of the land whom the children of Israel struck, and whose land they possessed beyond the Yarden towards the sun rising, from the Wadi Arnon to Mount Hermon, and all the desert plain eastward. Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, ruling from Aroer, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, from the middle of that wadi and half Gilad, even as far as the Wadi Yabok, the border of the children of Ammon, and the desert plain from the sea of Kinneroth, eastward as far as the sea of the Arava, the salt sea, the way to Beth Yeshimoth, and southward below the slopes of Pisgah, and the border of Og, sovereign of Bashan, who was of the remnant of the Rephaites, who dwelt at Ashtaroth and at Edrei, and ruled at Mount Hermon, and in Salcher, and in all Bashan, as far as the border of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and the half of Gilad, as far as the border of Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon. Moshe the servant of Yehovah and the children of Israel had stricken them, and Moshe the servant of Yehovah had given it as a possession to the Reuvenites, and to the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh. And these are the sovereigns of the land which Yehoshua and the children of Israel struck beyond the Yarden on the west, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon, as far as Mount Halach, that goes up to Seir, which Yehoshua gave to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their divisions. In the mountain country, and in the low country, and in the desert plain, and in the slopes, and in the wilderness, and in the south, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The sovereign of Jericho, 1. The sovereign of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. The sovereign of Yerushalayim, 1. The sovereign of Hebron, 1. The sovereign of Yarmuth, 1. The sovereign of Lachish, 1. The sovereign of Echlon, 1. The sovereign of Gezir, 1. The sovereign of Debir, 1. The sovereign of Gether, 1. The sovereign of Hormah, 1. The sovereign of Arad, 1. The sovereign of Livnah, 1. The sovereign of Adullam, 1. The sovereign of Makkedah, 1. The sovereign of Bethel, 1. The sovereign of Tappuah, 1. The sovereign of Hefer, 1. The sovereign of Aphek, 1. The sovereign of Sharon, 1. The sovereign of Madon, 1. The sovereign of Hatzor, 1. The sovereign of Shimron Meron, 1. The sovereign of Achshaph, 1. The sovereign of Ta'anach, 1. The sovereign of Megiddo, 1. The sovereign of Kadesh, 1. The sovereign of Yoknaam in Carmel, 1. The sovereign of Dor in the heights of Dor, 1. The sovereign of the nations of Gilgal, 1. The sovereign of Tetzar, 1. 31 sovereigns in all. Chapter 13. And Yehoshua was old, advanced in years. And Yehovah said to him, You are old, advanced in years, and still much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the districts of the Philistines and the Geshurites, from Shechor, which is in front of Mitzrayim, and up to the border of Ekron northward, are considered as Canaanite. The 5 princes of the Philistines, the Azathites, the Ashdodites, the Eshkelonites, the Gittites, and the Ekronites, also the Awites, on the south. All the land of the Canaanites and Me'arah that belongs to the Sidonians as far as Aphek to the border of the Amorites, and the land of the Gevalites, and all Lebanon toward the sunrise, from Baal-Gad below Mount Hermon as far as the entrance to Hamath. All the inhabitants of the mountains from Lebanon as far as Misrephoth, Maim, and all the Sidonians, I myself drive them out from before the children of Israel, only divide it by lot to Israel as an inheritance as I have commanded you. And now, divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and half tribe of Manasseh. With them the other half-tribe, the Reubenites and the Gadites, received their inheritance, which Moshe had given them beyond the Yarden eastward, as Moshe the servant of Yehoshua had given them. From Aroer, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain of Medava as far as Divon, and all the cities of Sichon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon as far as the border of the children of Ammon, and Gilad, and the border of the Geshurites, and of the Maachathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Salcha, all the reign of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth, and Edrei, who remained of the remnant of the Rephaites, for Moshe had stricken and dispossessed them. However, the children of Israel did not drive out the Geshurites, nor the Maachathites, so the Geshurites and the Maachathites dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. Only to the tribe of Levi he had given no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to Yehoshua Elohim of Israel were their inheritance, as he said to them. And Moshe gave to the tribe of the children of Reuven for their clans, and their border was from Aroer, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain by Medava, Heshbon and all its cities that are in the plain, Divon, and Bamoth Baal, and Beth Baal Meon, and Yatzar, and Kedemoth, Mephaath, and Kiriathaim, and Sivma, and Tzereth Shachar on the mountain of the valley, and Beth Peor on the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Yeshimoth, and all the cities of the plain, and all the reign of Sichon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moshe had stricken with the princes of Midian, Ewi, and Rechem, and Sur, and Hur, and Reva, princes of Sichon dwelling in the land. And the sons of Israel killed with the sword Bilam son of Beor, the diviner, among those who were killed by them. And the border of the children of Reuven was the bank of the Yarden. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuven for their clans, the cities, and their villages. And Moshe gave to the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad for their clans, and the border was Yazer, and all the cities of Gilad, and half the land of the children of Ammon as far as Aroer, which is before Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramath Mitzpeh, and Betonim, and from Machanaim to the border of Debir, and in the valley Beth Haram, and Beth Nimrah, and Sukkoth, and Tzafon, and the rest of the reign of Sichon, sovereign of Heshbon, the Yarden being its border, as far as the edge of the sea of Kinnereth, beyond the Yarden eastward. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad for their clans, the cities and their villages. And Moshe gave to half the tribe of Manasseh, and it was for half the tribe of the children of Manasseh for their clans. And their border was from Machanaim, or Bashan, all the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, and all the small towns of Yair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities. And the half of Gilad, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, cities of the reign of Og in Bashan, were for the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, to the half of the children of Machir for their clans. These Moshe gave as an inheritance in the desert plain of Moab beyond the Yarden, by Jericho eastward. But to the tribe of Levi Moshe gave no inheritance. Yehoshua Elohim of Israel, he was their inheritance, as he had said to them. Chapter 14. Now these the children of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, and Yehoshua son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel caused them to inherit. Their inheritance was by lot, as Yehoshua had commanded by the hand of Moshe, for the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. For Moshe had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes and the half-tribe beyond the Yarden, but to the Levites he gave no inheritance in their midst. For the children of Yosef had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and they gave no part to the Levites in the land, except cities to dwell in, with their open land for their livestock and their possessions. As Yehoshua had commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel did, and they divided the land. And the children of Yehudah came to Yehoshua in Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, said to him, You know the word which Yehoshua said to Moshe, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moshe, the servant of Yehoshua, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. But my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt, but I followed Yehoshua my Elohim completely. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, The land on which your foot is trodden is your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have followed Yehoshua my Elohim completely. And now, see, Yehoshua has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years since Yehoshua spoke this word to Moshe, while Yisrael walked in the wilderness. And now, see, I am 85 years old today. Yet I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Moshe sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now for battle and for going out and for coming in. And now give me this mountain of which Yehoshua spoke in that day, for you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. If Yehoshua is with me, then I shall dispossess them, as Yehoshua said. Yehoshua then blessed him and gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. So Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed Yehoshua Elohim of Israel completely. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from fighting. Chapter 15. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Yehudah for their clans was to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Tzin, southward in the extreme south. And their southern border began at the edge of the Salt Sea, from the bay that faces southward. And it went out to the southern side of the ascent of Akrabim, passed over to Tzin, and went out on the south side of Kadesh Barnea, and passed over to Hetzron, went up to Adar, and went around to Karkar, and passed over to Atzmon, and went out to the Wadi of Mitzrayim, and the border ended at the sea. This is your southern border. And the east border was the Salt Sea as far as the end of the Yarden, and the border on the northern quarter began at the bay of the sea at the end of the Yarden. And the border went up to Beth Horcha, and passed over north of Beth Arava, and the border went up to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuven. And the border went up toward Devir, from the valley of Achor, and it turned northward toward Gilgal, which is before the ascent of the Adumim, which is south of the Wadi. And the border passed over to the waters of En Shemesh, and ended at En Rochel. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom to the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is Yerushalayim. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lies before the valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the valley of Rephaim northward. And the border went around from the top of the hill to the fountain of the water of Nephtoach, and went up to the cities of Mount Ephron, and the border went around to Baalah, which is Kiriath Yearim. And the border turned around from Baalah westward to Mount Seir, and passed over the side of Mount Yearim on the north, that is Kesalon, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and passed over to Timnah. And the border went out to the side of Ekron northward. And the border went around to Shikeron, and passed over to Mount Baalah, and went out to Yavneel. And the border ended at the sea. And the west border was the coastline of the great sea. This is the boundary of the children of Yehudah all around for their clans. And to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, he gave a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah according to the mouth of Yehoshua to Yehoshua. Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. And Caleb drove out the three sons of Anak from there, Sheshai and Achiman and Talmai, the children of Anak. And he went up from there to the inhabitants of Devir, and the name of Devir formerly was Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, He who strikes Kiriath Sefer and shall capture it, to him I shall give Achsah my daughter as wife. And Othniel, son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, did capture it. So he gave him Achsah his daughter as wife. And it came to be when she came to him, that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. And when she got off from the donkey, Caleb said to her, What is the matter? And she said, Give me a blessing, since you have given me land in the south. Give me also fountains of water. And he gave her the upper fountains and the lower fountains. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Yehudah for their clans. And the cities at the furthest border of the tribe of the children of Yehudah, toward the border of Edom in the south, were Kabtseel, and Ether, and Yachir, and Kinah, and Dimonah, and Adada, and Kadesh, and Hatzor, and Yithnan, Sif, and Telem, and Be'aloth, and Hatzor, Chadatah, and Kerioth, Chetzron, that is Hatzor, Amam, and Shema, and Moladah, and Chatzar Gadah, and Heshmon, and Beth Pelet, and Chatzar, Shual, and Beresheva, and Bizothia, Baalah, and Aim, and Etsem, and Eltolath, and Kesil, and Horma, and Siklach, and Madmana, and Sasnana, and Levaoth, and Shilchim, and Aim, and Rimmon. All the cities were 29 with their villages. In the low country, Eshtaol, and Sora, and Ashna, and Zanoach, and En-Ganim, Tapuach, and Enam, Yamuth, and Adulam, Socho, and Azekah, and Sha'araim, and Adithaim, and Gedera, and Gederothaim, 14 cities with their villages. Tenan, and Hadashah, and Migdal, Gav, and Dilan, and Mitzpah, and Yochthael, Lachish, Botzkoth, and Echlon, and Kabon, and Lichman, and Kithlish, and Gederoth, Beth Dachon, and Naamah, and Makatha, 16 cities with their villages. Livna, and Ether, and Ashan, and Yiftach, and Azna, and Netziv, and Keilah, and Achziv, and Marashah, 9 cities with their villages. Ekron with its towns and its villages. From Ekron to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod with their villages. Ashdod, its towns and its villages. Azar, its towns and its villages, as far as the Wadi of Mitzrayim and the Great Sea with its coastline. And the mountain country, Shamur, and Yitir, Socho, and Dana, and Kiriath Sana, that is Devir, and Anav, and Eshtemo, and Anim, and Goshen, and Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages. Arav, and Duma, and Eshan, and Yanin, and Beth Tapuach, and Afakah, and Chunta, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Tzior, 9 cities with their villages. Ma'on, Carmel, and Ziph, and Utah, and Yisrael, and Yoktheam, and Zanoach, Cain, Givah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Chalchul, Beth Sur, and Gedor, and Ma'arath, and Beth Anoth, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Ye'arim, and Rabbah, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arava, Midin, and Sechacha, and Nifshan, in the city of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Yerushalayim, the children of Yehudah were unable to drive them out. So the Jebusites have dwelt with the children of Yehudah at Yerushalayim to this day. Chapter 16. And the lot for the children of Yosef went out from the Yarden by Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east, to the wilderness going up from Jericho to the mountains of Bethel, and went out from Bethel to Luz, and passed over the border of the Arkites at Ataroth, and went down westward to the boundary of the Yaphletites, as far as the boundary of Lower Beth Horon to Gezer, and ended at the sea. Thus the children of Yosef, Manasseh, and Ephraim inherited. And the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their clans, was, the border of their inheritance on the east side was Ataroth Adar, as far as Upper Beth Horon, and the border went out toward the sea to Michmethath on the north. Then the border went around eastward to Tanaath Shiloh, and passed over it to the east of Yanochah, and went down from Yanochah to Ataroth, and Na'arah, reached to Jericho, and came out of the Yarden. From Tappuach, the border went westward to the Wadi Kana, and it ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim for their clans. And the separate cities for the children of Ephraim were in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages. And they did not drive out the Canaanites who dwelt in Gezer, so the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites to this day, and have become compulsory labour. Chapter 17. And the lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Yosef, was for Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilad, because he was a man of battle, therefore he had Gilad and Bashan. And for the rest of the children of Manasseh, for their clans there was, for the children of Aviezer, and for the children of Chelech, and for the children of Asriel, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Hefer, and for the children of Shemedah. These were the male children of Manasseh son of Yosef according to their clans. But Zelophehad son of Hefer, son of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons, but only daughters. And these were the names of his daughters, Machlah and Noah, Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they came near before Eleazar the priest, before Yehoshua son of Nun, and before the rulers, saying, Yehovah commanded Moshe to give us an inheritance among our brothers. So he gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers, according to the mouth of Yehovah. And 10 portions fell to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilad and Bashan, which were beyond the Yarden, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons, and the rest of Manasseh's sons had the land of Gilad. And the border of Manasseh was from Asher to Michmethath, which faces Shechem, and the border went up to the right to the inhabitants of En Tappuach. The land of Tappuach belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuach on the border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. And the border went down to the Wadi Kana, southward to the Wadi. These cities of Ephraim were in the midst of the cities of Manasseh, but the border of Manasseh was north of the Wadi, and it ended at the sea. Southward it was Ephraim's, and northward it was Manasseh's, and the sea was its border, and they reached to Asher on the north, and to Yisachar on the east. And in Yisachar and in Asher, Manasseh had Beth She'an and its towns, and Yivlaam and its towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Ta'anach and its towns, and the inhabitants of Mechiro and its towns, 3 of the heights. But the children of Manasseh were unable to drive out the inhabitants of those cities, for the Canaanites desired to dwell in that land. And it came to be, when the children of Israel grew strong, that they put the Canaanites to compulsory labour, but did not utterly drive them out. And the children of Yosef spoke to Yehoshua, saying, Why have you given us but one lot and one portion to inherit, seeing we are a great people whom Yehovah has blessed until now? And Yehoshua said to them, If you are a great people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself there, in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaites, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you. Then the children of Yosef said, The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who dwell in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both those who are of Beth She'an and its towns, and those who are of the valley of Israel. And Yehoshua spoke to the house of Yosef, to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, You are a great people and have great power. You are not to have one lot. But the hill country shall be yours, for though it is a forest, you shall cut it down, and its farthest limit shall be yours. For you are to drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots and are strong. Chapter 18. And all the congregation of the children of Israel assembled at Shiloh, and they let the tent of appointment dwell there, and the land was subdued before them. And 7 tribes were left among the children of Israel who had not yet shared their inheritance. So Yehoshua said to the children of Israel, Till when are you going to fail to go in and possess the land which Yehovah Elohim of your fathers has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe, and let me send them out to go through the land and describe it according to their inheritance, and come back to me. And they shall divide it into 7 portions. Yehuda stays within their border on the south, and the house of Yosef stays within their border on the north. And you shall describe the land in 7 portions, and shall bring it to me. Then I shall cast lots for you here before Yehoshua our Elohim. But the Levites have no portion with you, for the priesthood of Yehoshua is their inheritance. And Gad and Reuven and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond the Yarden on the east, which Moshe, the servant of Yehoshua, gave them. So the men rose up and went, and Yehoshua commanded those who went to describe the land, saying, Go, walk through the land and describe it, and come back to me, and let me cast lots for you here before Yehoshua in Shilo. So the men went and passed through the land, and described it in a book in 7 portions by cities. And they came to Yehoshua at the camp of Shilo. And Yehoshua cast lots for them in Shilo before Yehoshua. And there Yehoshua divided the land to the children of Israel according to their portions. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up for their clans, and the border of their lot came out between the children of Yehuda and the children of Yosef. And their border was on the north side of the Yarden, and the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north, and went up through the mountains westward, and ended at the wilderness of Beth Awen. And the border went over from there toward Luz, to the side of Luz, that is Beth El southward. And the border went down to Ataroth Adar, by the hill that lies on the south side of Lower Beth Horon. And the border was drawn, and went around the west side to the south, from the hill that faces Beth Horon southward, and it ended at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Yearim, a city of the children of Yehuda. This was the west side. And the south side was from the end of Kiriath Yearim, and the border went out westward, and went out to the fountain of the waters of Nephtoach. And the border came down to the end of the mountain that faces the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is in the valley of the Rephaim on the north, and went down to the valley of Hinnom, to the side of the Jebusite city on the south, and went down to En Rochel. And it was drawn from the north, went out to En Shemesh, and went out toward Get-Lioth, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, and went down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuven, and passed over to the side opposite Arava northward, and went down to the Arava. And the border passed over to the side of Beth Hokla northward, and the border ended at the north bay at the Salt Sea, at the south end of the Yarden. This was the southern boundary. And the Yarden borders it on the east side. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin, according to its boundaries all around for their clans. And the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin for their clans were Jericho, and Beth Hokla, and Emek Ketzitz, and Beth Arava, and Tzemaraim, and Beth El, and Awim, and Para, and Ophrah, and Kepher ha-Ammoni, and Ophni, and Gava, 12 cities with their villages, Givon, and Ramah, and Bereoth, Mitzpah, and Kephirah, and Motzah, and Rekem, and Yirpeel, and Tarala, and Tselah, Aleph, and the Jebusite, that is Yerushalayim, Givath, and Kiriath, 14 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin for their clans. Chapter 19. And the second lot came out for Shimon, for the tribe of the children of Shimon for their clans. And their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Yehuda. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheva, and Moladah, and Chatzar, Shual, and Bala, and Atzem, and El Tolav, and Bethul, and Hormah, and Tsiklach, and Beth Markavoth, and Chatzar Susa, and Beth Levaoth, and Sharuchan, 13 cities and their villages, Ain, Rimmon, and Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages. And all the villages that were all around these cities, as far as Baalath Be'er, Ramath, Nechev, this was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Shimon for their clans. The inheritance of the children of Shimon was out of the portion of the children of Yehuda, for the portion of the children of Yehuda was too much for them. So the children of Shimon had their inheritance within their inheritance. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun, for their clans, and the border of their inheritance was as far as Sarith. And their border went toward the sea, and Maralah, and reached to Dabbasheth, and reached to the wadi that faced Yokanam, and turned back from Sarith eastward toward the sunrise, to the border of Kisloth Tavor, and went out toward Tavarath, and went up to Yaphia. And from there it passed over eastward, to the east of Gath Hefer, toward Eth Katzin, and went out to Rimmon, which borders on Ne'ah. And the border went around it on the north side of Hanathon, and it ended in the valley of Yiphthach El, also Katath, and Nahalal, and Shimron, and Yidhalah, and Beth Lachem, 12 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the children of Zebulun for their clans, these cities with their villages. The fourth lot came out to Yisachar for the children of Yisachar for their clans, and their border was toward Yisrael, and Kesuloth, and Shunem, and Chapharaim, and Shion, and Anacharath, and Rabith, and Kishon, and Avetz, and Remeth, and En-Ganim, and En-Hadar, and Beth Patzetz, and the border reached to Tavor, and Shah Chatzimah, and Beth Shemesh, and their border ended at the Yarden, 16 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Yisachar for their clans, the cities and their villages. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher for their clans. And their border was Chelkath, and Chali, and Beten, and Achshaph, and Alamech, and Amath, and Mishal, and it reached to Mount Carmel westward, and to brook Sichor Livnath, and turned toward the sunrise, to Beth Dachon, and reached to Zebulun, and to the valley of Yiphath El, then northward beyond Beth Emek, and Ne'iel, and went out to Kavul, and Hebron, and Rechov, and Chamon, and Kenah, as far as Great Tzidon. And the border turned to Ramah, and to the strong city Tzor, and the border turned to Chosah, and ended at the sea, from the coast to Achziv. And Ubah, and Aphek, and Rechov were included, 22 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Asher for their clans. These cities were their villages. The sixth lot came out to the children of Naphtali, for the children of Naphtali for their clans. And their border was from Heleph, from the terebinth tree in Tza'ananim, and Adami, Nekev, and Yavneel, as far as Lakum, and it ended at the Yarden. And the border turned westward to Aznoth Tabor, and went out from there to Hukok, and reached to Zebulun on the south side, and Asher on the west side, and ended at Yehudah by the Yarden toward the sunrise. And the cities of defense were Tzidim, Tzer, and Hamath, Rakath, Kinnereth, and Adma, and Ramah, and Chatzor, and Kedesh, and Edrei, and En Chatzor, and Yiron, and Migdal El, Chorem, and Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh, 19 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali for their clans, the cities with their villages. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan for their clans. And the border of their inheritance was Tzorah, and Eshtaol, and Ir Shemesh, and Shah Alabim, and Elon, and Yitha, and Elon, and Timnathah, and Ekron, and Eltekah, and Gibbethon, and Baaloth, and Yehud, and Benai Berak, and Gath Rimmon, and Meir Yarkon, and Rakon, with the border before Yapho. And the border of the children of Dan went out from them. And the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshem, and captured it. And they struck it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt in it, and called it Leshem Dan, after the name of Dan their father. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan for their clans, these cities with their villages. And when they had ended dividing the land as an inheritance according to their borders, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Yehoshua son of Nun in their midst. According to the mouth of Yehoshua, they gave him the city which he asked for, Timnath Serach, in the mountains of Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt in it. These were the inheritances which Eleazar the priest and Yehoshua son of Nun, and the heads of their fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel, divided as an inheritance by lot in Shilo before Yehoshua at the door of the tent of appointment. And they ended dividing the country. Chapter 20. And Yehoshua spoke to Yehoshua, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Appoint for yourselves cities of refuge, of which I spoke to you through Moshe, for the manslayer who strikes any being mistakenly, unknowingly, to flee there. And they shall be your refuge from the revenger of blood. And he shall flee to one of those cities, and stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and declare his case in the hearing of the elders of that city. And they shall take him into the city as one of them, and give him a place, and he shall dwell among them. And when the revenger of blood pursues him, they do not give the manslayer into his hand, because he struck his neighbour unknowingly, and did not hate him beforehand. And he shall dwell in that city until he stands before the congregation for right ruling, and until the death of the one who is high priest in those days. Then let the manslayer return and come to his own city, and his own house, to the city from which he fled. So they set apart Kadesh in Galil, in the mountains of Naphtali, and Shechem in the mountains of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the mountains of Yehuda. And beyond the Yarden by Jericho eastward, they appointed Betzer in the wilderness on the plain, from the tribe of Reuven, and Ramoth in Gilad from the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourned in their midst, for anyone striking any being unknowingly to flee there, and not die by the hand of the revenger of blood until he stood before the congregation. Chapter 21. And the heads of the fathers of the Levites came near to Eleazar the priest, to Yehoshua son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And they spoke to them at Shilo in the land of Canaan, saying, Yehoshua commanded through Moshe to give us cities to dwell in, with their open land for our livestock. So the children of Israel gave to the Levites from their inheritance at the mouth of Yehoshua these cities and their open land. And the lot came out for the clans of the Kehathites, and the children of Aharon the priest, who were of the Levites, had 13 cities by lot from the tribe of Yehuda, from the tribe of Shimon, and from the tribe of Benjamin. And the rest of the children of Kahath had 10 cities by lot, from the clans of the tribe of Ephraim, from the tribe of Dan, and from the half-tribe of Manasseh. And the children of Gershon had 13 cities by lot, from the clans of the tribe of Yisachar, from the tribe of Asher, and from the tribe of Naphtali, and from the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The children of Merari for their clans had 12 cities from the tribe of Reuven, and from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zebulun. Thus the children of Israel gave these cities with their open land by lot to the Leviim, as Yehoshua had commanded by the hand of Moshe. So from the tribe of the children of Yehuda, and from the tribe of the children of Shimon, they gave these cities which are mentioned by name. And they were for the children of Aharon, one of the clans of the Kehathites, who were of the children of Levi, for the lot was theirs first. And they gave them Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak, in the mountains of Yehuda, with the open land surrounding it. And the fields of the city and its villages they gave to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. But to the children of Aharon the priest they gave Hebron with its open land, a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Livnah with its open land, and Yatir with its open land, and Eshtemoa with its open land, and Cholon with its open land, and Devir with its open land, and Ain with its open land, and Utah with its open land, and Beth Shemesh with its open land, 9 cities from those 2 tribes. And from the tribe of Benjamin, Givon with its open land, Gever with its open land, Anathoth with its open land, and Almon with its open land, 4 cities. All the cities of the children of Aharon the priests were 13 cities with their open lands. And the clans of the children of Kahath, the Levites, the rest of the children of Kahath, even they had the cities of their lot from the tribe of Ephraim. And they gave them Shechem with its open land in the mountains of Ephraim as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Gezer with its open land, and Kivtsaim with its open land, and Beth Choron with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Dan, Eltekah with its open land, Gibbethon with its open land, Ailon with its open land, Gath Rimmon with its open land, 4 cities. And from the half tribe of Manasseh, Tanakh with its open land, and Gath Rimmon with its open land, 2 cities. All the 10 cities with their open lands were for the rest of the clans of the children of Qahath. And to the children of Gershon, of the clans of the Levites, from the other half tribe of Manasseh, they gave Golan in Bashan with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Be'er Eshtarah with its open land, 2 cities. And from the tribe of Yisachar, Kishon with its open land, Davarath with its open land, Yarmuth with its open land, and En-Ganim with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Asher, Mishal with its open land, Abdon with its open land, Chelkath with its open land, and Arechov with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galil with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Hamath Dor with its open land, and Kartan with its open land, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites for their clans were 13 cities with their open land. And to the clans of the children of Merari, the rest of the Levites, from the tribe of Zebulun, Yokanam with its open land, Karta with its open land, Dimnah with its open land, Nahalal with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Reuven, Betzer with its open land, Yatsar with its open land, Kedemoth with its open land, Mephalath with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Gad, Ramoth in Gilad with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Machanaim with its open land, Heshbon with its open land, Yazer with its open land, 4 cities in all. All the cities for the children of Merari for their clans, the rest of the clans of the Levites, were by their lot 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their open lands. Each of their cities had its open land surrounding it. So it was with all these cities. Thus Yehoshua gave to Israel all the land of which he had sworn to give to their fathers, and they took possession of it and dwelt in it. And Yehoshua gave them rest all around, according to all that he had sworn to their fathers, and not a man of all their enemies stood against them. Yehoshua gave all their enemies into their hand. Not a word failed of any good word which Yehoshua had spoken to the house of Israel, all came in. Chapter 22. Then Yehoshua called for the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, You have guarded all that Moshe the servant of Yehoshua commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I commanded you. You have not left your brothers these many days up to this day, but have guarded the charge, the command of Yehoshua your Elohim. And now Yehoshua your Elohim has given rest to your brothers, as he promised them. So now return and go to your tents, and to the land of your possession, which Moshe the servant of Yehoshua gave you beyond the Yarden. Only diligently guard to do the command and the Torah which Moshe the servant of Yehoshua commanded you, to love Yehoshua your Elohim, and to walk in all his ways, and to guard his commands, and to cling to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your being. And Yehoshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. And to the half-tribe of Manasseh, Moshe had given a possession in Bashan, but to the other half of it Yehoshua gave land among their brothers beyond the Yarden westward. So when Yehoshua sent them away to their tents, he also blessed them, and spoke to them, saying, Return to your tents with great riches, and with very much livestock, and with silver, and with gold, and with bronze, and with iron, and with countless garments. Divide the spoil of your enemies with your brothers. And the children of Reuven and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh returned, and left the children of Israel at Shilo, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilad, to the land of their possession, which they possessed according to the mouth of Yehoshua by the hand of Moshe. And they came to the districts of the Yarden, which is in the land of Canaan, and the children of Reuven and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh built a slaughter place there by the Yarden, a great conspicuous slaughter place. And the children of Israel heard it, said, See, the children of Reuven and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh have built a slaughter place opposite the land of Canaan, in the districts of the Yarden at the border of the children of Israel. And when the children of Israel heard, all the congregation of the children of Israel assembled at Shiloh to go to fight against them. So the children of Israel sent Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, to the children of Reuven, and to the children of Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, into the land of Gilead. And 10 rulers with him, 1 ruler from each of the chief house of every tribe of Israel. And each one was the head of the house of his father among the divisions of Israel. And they came to the children of Reuven and the children of Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, to the land of Gilead, and spoke with them, saying, Thus says all the congregation of Yehoshua, What is this trespass you have committed against the Elohim of Israel, to turn away this day from following Yehoshua, in that you have built for yourselves a slaughter place to rebel against Yehoshua this day? Is the crookedness of Peor not enough for us, from which we have not been cleansed till this day, although there was a plague in the congregation of Yehoshua, that you turn away today from following Yehoshua? And it shall be, if you rebel today against Yehoshua, that tomorrow he is wroth with all the congregation of Israel. And indeed, if the land of your possession is unclean, then pass over to the land of the possession of Yehoshua, where the dwelling place of Yehoshua dwells, and take possession among us. But do not rebel against Yehoshua, nor rebel against us, by building yourselves a slaughter place besides the slaughter place of Yehoshua our Elohim. Did not Achan, son of Zerach, commit a trespass in that which is under the ban, and wrath fell on all the congregation of Israel? And he was not the only one to die in his crookedness. Then the children of Reuven and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh answered and said to the heads of the divisions of Israel, El Elohim Yehoshua, El Elohim Yehoshua, he knows, and let Israel itself know, if this has been in rebellion, or if in trespass against Yehoshua, do not save us this day. If we have built ourselves a slaughter place to turn from following Yehoshua, or if to offer ascending offerings or grain offerings on it, or if to make slaughtering of peace offerings on it, let Yehoshua himself require it. But truly, from fear, for a reason we did this, saying, In time to come your sons might speak to our sons, saying, What have you to do with Yehoshua Elohim of Israel? For Yehoshua has made the Yarden a border between you and us. You children of Reuven and children of Gad, you have no portion with Yehoshua, so your sons would make our sons stop fearing Yehoshua. So we said, Let us now prepare to build ourselves a slaughter place, not for ascending offering nor for slaughtering, but to be a witness between you and us and our generations after us, to do the service of Yehoshua before him with our ascending offerings, with our slaughterings, and with our peace offerings, that your sons should not say to our sons in time to come, You have no portion with Yehoshua. So we said that it shall be, when they say this to us or to our generations in time to come, that we shall say, See the pattern of the slaughter place of Yehoshua which our fathers made, though not for ascending offerings nor for slaughterings, but it is a witness between you and us. Far be it from us to rebel against Yehoshua, and to turn from following Yehoshua this day, to build a slaughter place for ascending offerings, for grain offerings, or for slaughterings, besides the slaughter place of Yehoshua our Elohim, which is before his dwelling place. And Phinehas the priest and the rulers of the congregation and the heads of the thousands of Israel, who were with him, heard the words that the children of Reuven and the children of Gad and the children of Manasseh spoke, and it was good in their eyes. And Phinehas son of Eleazar the priest said to the children of Reuven and to the children of Gad and to the children of Manasseh, Today we know that Yehoshua is in our midst, because you have not committed against Yehoshua this trespass. Now you have delivered the children of Israel out of the hand of Yehoshua. And Phinehas son of Eleazar the priest and the rulers returned from the children of Reuven and the children of Gad, and from the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan, to the children of Israel, and brought back word to them. So the matter was good in the eyes of the children of Israel, and the children of Israel blessed Elohim. And they spoke no more of going against to fight, to destroy the land where the children of Reuven and Gad dwelt. And the children of Reuven and the children of Gad called the slaughter place a witness between us that Yehoshua is Elohim. Chapter 23. And it came to be, a long time after Yehoshua had given rest to Israel from all their enemies round about, that Yehoshua was old, advanced in years. And Yehoshua called for all Israel, and for their elders, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said to them, I am old, advanced in years, and you have seen all that Yehovah your Elohim has done to all these nations because of you. For Yehovah your Elohim is he who was fighting for you. See, I have divided to you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes from the Yarden, with all the nations that I have cut off as far as the great sea toward the setting of the sun. And Yehovah your Elohim thrust them out from before you, and shall drive them out from before you, and you shall possess their land as Yehovah your Elohim has promised you. And you shall be very strong to guard and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, so as not to turn aside from it right or left, so as not to go in among these nations that remain among you, and make no mention of the name of their mighty ones, nor swear by them, nor serve them, nor bow down to them. But cling to Yehovah your Elohim as you have done to this day. For Yehovah has driven out from before you great and strong nations. As for you, no one has stood against you to this day. One man of you put 1,000 to flight, for Yehovah your Elohim is he who is fighting for you, as he has promised you. And you shall diligently guard yourselves to love Yehovah your Elohim. But if you do turn back at all and cling to the remnant of these nations, these that remain among you, and intermarry with them, and go into them, and they to you, know for certain that Yehovah your Elohim shall no longer drive these nations out from before you, and they shall be snares and traps to you, and a whip on your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land which Yehovah your Elohim has given you. And see, this day I am going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your beings that not one word has failed of all the good words which Yehovah your Elohim spoke concerning you. All of it has come to you, and not one word of them has failed. And it shall be that as every good word has come upon you which Yehovah your Elohim promised you, so Yehovah does bring upon you every evil word, until he has destroyed you from this good land which Yehovah your Elohim has given you. When you transgress the covenant of Yehovah your Elohim which he commanded you, and shall go and serve other mighty ones, and bow down to them. And the displeasure of Yehovah shall burn against you, and you shall perish quickly from the good land which he has given you. Chapter 24. And Yehoshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem, and called for the elders of Israel, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers. And they presented themselves before Elohim. And Yehoshua said to all the people, Thus said Yehovah, Elohim of Israel, Long ago your fathers dwelt beyond the river, Terach, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other mighty ones. So I took your father Abraham from beyond the river, and caused him to go through all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his offspring, and gave him to Yitzchak. And to Yitzchak I gave Yaakov and Esau, and to Esau I gave the mountains of Seir to possess, but Yaakov and his children went down to Mitzrayim. Then I sent Moshe and Aaron, and plagued Mitzrayim, as I did in their midst. And afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Mitzrayim, and you came to the sea. And the Mitzrayim pursued your fathers with chariots and horsemen to the sea of reeds. And they cried out to Yehovah, and he put thick darkness between you and the Mitzrayim, and brought the sea upon them and covered them. And your eyes saw what I did in Mitzrayim, and you dwelt in the wilderness a long time. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites who dwelt beyond the Yarden, and they fought with you. But I gave them into your hand, and you possessed their land, and I destroyed them from before you. And Balak, son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, rose up and fought against Israel, and sent and called for Balaam, son of Beor, to curse you. But I refused to listen to Balaam, so he continued to bless you, and I delivered you out of his hand. And you passed over the Yarden, and came to Jericho, and the masters of Jericho, the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite fought against you, but I gave them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you, also the 2 sovereigns of the Amorites, but not with your sword or with your bow. And I gave you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you did not build. And you dwell in them, you eat of the vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. And now, fear Yehovah, serve him in perfection and in truth, and put away the mighty ones which your fathers served beyond the river and in Mitzrayim, and serve Yehoshua. And if it seems evil in your eyes to serve Yehoshua, choose for yourselves this day whom you are going to serve, whether the mighty ones which your fathers served which were beyond the river, or the mighty ones of the Amorites in whose land you dwell, but I and my house we serve Yehoshua. And the people answered and said, Far be it from us to forsake Yehoshua to serve other mighty ones. For Yehoshua our Elohim is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage, who did these great signs before our eyes, and has guarded us in all the way that we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And Yehoshua drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites who dwelt in the land. We too serve Yehoshua, for he is our Elohim. Then Yehoshua said to the people, You are not able to serve Yehoshua, for he is a set-apart Elohim. A jealous El is he. He does not bear with your transgression and with your sins. If you forsake Yehoshua and shall serve mighty ones of a stranger, then he shall turn back and do you evil and consume you after he has been good to you. And the people said to Yehoshua, No, but we do serve Yehoshua. Then Yehoshua said to the people, You are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen Yehoshua for yourselves to serve him. And they said, Witnesses. And now put away the mighty ones of the stranger which are in your midst, and incline your heart to Yehoshua Elohim of Israel. And the people said to Yehoshua, Yehoshua our Elohim we serve, and his voice we obey. And Yehoshua made a covenant with the people that day, and laid on them a law and a right ruling in Shechem. Then Yehoshua wrote these words in the book of the Torah of Elohim, and he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak tree that was by the set-apart place of Yehoshua. And Yehoshua said to all the people, See, this stone is a witness to us, for it has heard all the words of Yehoshua which he spoke to us, and it shall be a witness against you, lest you lie against your Elohim. Then Yehoshua sent the people away, each to his own inheritance. And after these events it came to be that Yehoshua son of Nun, the servant of Yehoshua, died, 110 years old. And they buried him within the border of his inheritance at Timnath Serach, which is in the mountains of Ephraim on the north side of Mount Gaash. And Israel served Yehoshua all the days of Yehoshua, and all the days of the elders who outlived Yehoshua, who had known all the works of Yehoshua which he had done for Israel. And the bones of Yosef, which the children of Israel had brought up out of Mitzrayim, they buried at Shechem, in the plot of ground which Yaakov had bought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 kesitah, and which had become an inheritance of the children of Yosef. And Eleazar, son of Aharon, died, and they buried him in a hill that belonged to Pinchas his son, which was given to him in the hill country of Ephraim.